Hello. So I thought we'd try something a little bit different today. And what I'm going to do is show you a day in the life of someone who is a purchaser or doing procurement within ConnectWise PSA. I was in procurement for many years. My background is in supply chain and procurement, and I was a purchaser at multiple different companies using different systems other than ConnectWise. So I will show you how to go through your day and what I would do each and every day to make sure that I was covering all my responsibilities as a purchaser. You would think that the very first thing I would do as a purchaser would be to purchase. And that's fine. That's something I see a lot. It's actually not the first thing I would do. So if I came in and I sat down at my desk, the very first thing I would do is go into my product pick and ship screen, and I would take a look at my pick list view. My pick list view is a custom view that I've created to show me anything that is on hand. So I have inventory actually in stock and has not yet been picked against a project, service ticket, or sales order. And I'm going to keep my product classes inventory. I'll go to my pick list view and I'll put in the bottom how I make this custom view. And I would look to see of all the things that need to be pulled from stock. The way I have my view laid out is the quantity to pick and then the quantity on hand. The reason I'm looking at this first is because ConnectWise wants you to use the stock that you already have. So if you have inventory class items, they will sit here forever. They won't show up in your purchasing. If they have been inventory class and you have stock on hand, you need to pick them first. So I would actually go through and pick all these items. If there's a warehouse or if you have someone else doing this, I would follow up with them and say, hey, how did picking go? Was everything there? And sometimes what will happen is you'll find out that maybe these medium displays, which we're supposed to have 4 on hand, we're supposed to have 4 sitting on the shelf. I could have some feedback saying there's no stock available. There's no medium displays, they're gone. So the next thing I would do is my inventory adjustments. I'm gonna copy this SKU and I'm gonna go into my inventory adjustments and I'm going to adjust these out of stock. I want to show you why I'm doing this first, because right now, if we go into my procurement purchasing screen, there's one thing in it. There's only one thing. Maybe I purchased it already, maybe I didn't, but I'm not going to purchase it yet because I want to do my inventory adjustments and make sure my stock is correct. I'll go into my inventory adjustments. I'm going to go in, put my adjustment ID in, add my product, and I'm going to take these out of stock. And I'll close my adjustment. We want to make sure that that does get closed so that we can see that they actually get posted. And now if I look, there's none here. What's really interesting about that, because I did my inventory adjustment, I'm going to go back to my purchasing screen, hit search, and now I have to buy a medium display for a project. So that's why I do my picking first to find out if there's anything else I need to do. The reason being is that now I could maybe bundle these together on the same purchase order. Maybe they're for the same vendor, especially if they're for the same project. I would like to know ahead of time and send one PO to my vendor versus sending the first PO for the first item, finding out later, and then doing my inventory adjustment and then sending another purchase order. You want to have as few purchase orders as possible, and I'll show you why a little later in this video, because you're going to check every single purchase order you have. Next up, I will actually purchase. So I'm going to create my purchase orders. I purchase just for the job, so I only ever purchase one purchase order per job. It's up to you. I really do recommend doing it that way. It's easier to receive. It's easier to process everything. And my best practice is that you should have purchasing approvals turned on. So when you get to your purchasing screen, you can confidently purchase everything. If you have purchasing approvals turned on, that means the only things on this screen can be purchased. and we don't have any qualms, we don't have any concerns about purchasing these. I'd send my POs off to my vendors, and the next thing I would do is check every single one of my purchase orders. What I mean by that is I would go into my purchase orders, I would sort them by status, and I would look at every new PO. I have new as my default status. When I send a purchase order out, it goes into new. Then you should get an order confirmation from your vendor. So your vendor is going to send you a list back. It'll have the costs. It'll let you know if anything's out of stock, etc. Once I have that order confirmation open on my second screen, I'm going to go into the purchase order. And at this time, I'm going to make any changes that are required. If there's a cost difference, I'm going to go into that product and I'm going to update that cost. Maybe it's $11. There was an increase. I'll go through, make sure everything else is correct. I'll add tracking numbers if I need to. And only when this subtotal exactly matches that order confirmation am I going to change this to order confirmed. I always recommend having a PO status called order confirmed. And the reason being is that you really want to change your product costs before you receive the product. Once you receive a product, that cost is locked in. It's very difficult for you to go back and change that cost. Doing what I did right now, where I went in and changed the product cost ahead of receipt, is the best way to do it. And this is also communicating to the rest of the business that you have received confirmation from the vendor. If a purchase order is still in new status, it's concerning. So I would go through every single one of these purchase orders, check the subtotal, make sure all of them go into order confirmed. And once they're in order confirmed, that's it. I'm done checking my POs. Extra credit, I might look at anything that has an old PO date and just go oldest to newest, follow up on back orders, whatever the case may be. That is already a lot of work, and I did it very quickly, but for bonus points and extra credit, if I had extra time in my day, I would go into my procurement purchasing approvals screen. And this is something I would do just to check what's coming down the pipe, to see if there's anything that I recognize that hasn't been approved yet. Maybe it's an item that is on back order. I know something is wrong with that item. Or I would look at anything that's actually on a closed project, and I might reach out to this project manager and ask them what's going on here. So that's how I would go about my day as a purchaser in the ConnectWise PSA system. Let me know if you want to do a day in the life of anyone else.